How's your day going? Morning going?
Recently, I'm going to do
So,
this.
well, yeah, but no, because it goes on video too.
Fuck me.
For the record, she just sat in a closet.
This outtakes. There's a long. I don't have rooms without windows.
All right, are we ready to start?
I
Do
mean,
you,
I guess.
do you have focus turned on your devices?
Let's see. I mean, I don't know if I do that. Hang on, I got it.
Are you on
Settings,
your computer?
notifications.
Top right, there's two double lines, white line, black line on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, do not disturb.
Focus.
Focus,
Do
Stephanie.
not disturb. Okay, not the consultant for technology. Let's get that out of the way right now.
Okay, you may already have an idea of the direction this is going. This is my bestie in the consulting industry, Stephanie Breaux Bradley. We're going to talk about guerrilla grassroots marketing and basically having coffee together and talking about our industry and some great tips to help you rock your yoga business. Enjoy.
Don't know why we didn't do this sooner. Okay.
Welcome. I am super excited, well, or a little bit scared, I'm not too sure, to have really one of my besties on this. And she is bar yoga. She's franchise. I don't know what the hell she's doing on this yoga podcast. She has nothing to do with the yoga world whatsoever. However, she knows her shit. And she is my consulting ride or die. We've been through a lot together, and she's the person in my world that I trust the most. And she knows all my secrets. I think I know all of her secrets.
Nah.
I am welcoming the amazing Southern charm, Stephanie Breaux Bradley. Hey, Steph.
Hey, Michael. So good to be here. I can't believe it's taken this long.
It's like
Um,
so long.
but something interesting that you said, so you already started off because I agree with you. You are my ride or die. You are my person to go to. And for reasons of supporting and also calling me out,
Yeah.
which I think as entrepreneurs, we all need, right? Like we're in this space of giving 90 to nothing all the time. And you need that grounded person who can say, hey, you're doing a great job, but can also say, okay, it's time to get your head out of your ass. Like that's where the love and support comes in. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you along my journey. You're
Yeah.
in it for the long haul. So if you
Yeah.
get tired, you just can take a break and that's it.
For sure. Um, you're the best. You truly are. And I'm super glad that you're here. And this is a little bit more freestyle today. This is just me and Steph chewing the.
I do want to clarify something. It's not that I don't like yoga. I just don't think I'm calm enough for it. I probably really need it. But I remember when I was training to teach bar and yoga had kind of come up, and my youngest at the time was like, Mom, you're too loud for yoga. Very serious, very straightforward about it. And I was like, I think you might be right. But I probably do need it, which is why I have Michael in my life.
Yeah, usually people that go to yoga should go for what the opposite of their regular nature or life is. So if you're a go, go, go kind of person, you need to chill out and lay over some bolsters.
Well, maybe that'll be the next podcast. Stephanie takes on yoga. It'll be bleeped the whole time, but yeah, I'll give.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
I was actually thinking this episode might be the first one that might have to go under age restricted.
Ass.
Yeah. And maybe we'll do the Andy Cohen thing. Every time she calls me ass, take a shot.
So in addition to consultants, we're Bravo fans, big time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just outed me on that too.
that's okay.
You're always outing me, Steph. All right, I asked you for your bio. I said short, Stephanie. Like, do I need to put this through Chat GPT to shorten it by 50%?
No, because it won't have as much personality as it needs.
All right, do you want to read it then?
No.
Okay.
Sounds better from you.
As a
You do not
fit
give a word limit.
I didn't. Maybe I need to do that. My email was pretty good to you though, right?
It was very good, very thorough, very
As
professional.
Thank you. As a fitness studio advisor, business consultant, and strategist, Stephanie Breaux Bradley partners with motivated fitness and wellness studio owners to formulate a customized plan focused on business process improvement. Financial solutions, budgeting, training, and revenue growth. Having been a wealth management analyst, earning her CIMA from the Wharton School of Business, woo, and franchise bar studio owner for 5 years, Stephanie is uniquely positioned to create effective sales processes, assess value-based pricing based on your KPIs, assist an organizational structure get to the root of your issues, all based on authentic, relatable, and data-driven feedback. Stephanie is known for her southern wit and straightforward approach when it comes to working with her clients to create a win-win. She feels vital to have a feels it's vital to have a clear understanding of the numbers to take the fear out of the process and ensure more focused decision making across the board as you move forward.
You could have practiced that beforehand. But let's talk about this, because you and I do have this conversation. We have a group of consultants that we all support each other. And to me, it is an amazing group of supportive people who we can go to with anything we need, whether it's websites, whether it's HR, you name it. And I know for me, I struggled a lot getting into consulting to find what that niche is. And it would bother me because there wasn't just like one thing that I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to hone in on. And I realized, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I think that you're kind of the same way, like I want to ingrain myself with the studios that I work with.
Yeah.
To be like your board of directors or what that looks like, because I go back to my studio days when I owned, and just the roller coaster ride that you were on as an entrepreneur, to have someone on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to touch base with, to help you realize the things you're doing well, to help prioritize the things you need to focus on, but just knowing the whole time that you're not alone. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like everything bleeds into each other. Whatever your mission statement is, kind of focuses who your avatar client is, kind of focuses how you market or brand yourself, type of thing. And so I feel like having someone on the journey with you to help you see the big picture and take the emotion out of the decisions is really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you've kind of, your world has got very focused in, right? It's as you know, we started this journey together. You're getting really dialed into what really your life was before, but you're really going into heavy into the bar consulting.
Agree.
And heavy into the sort of franchise or expansion world. And for me, I feel like I'm not broad either, and I think I'm getting more niche. I know a lot of our fellow friends out there. The boutique fitness, or it's very broad, and I'm like, yeah, I don't speak bar language. I don't know a thing about it, right? Even though I know how to do, consulting for group fitness.
Yeah,
it's different to me. It's like the people are a little bit different, and I feel I've got so niche down in yoga pretty much only, and even more niche down lately, and that is in helping studios open, which has been a massive part of my business lately. And I think
when you speak to, I agree. I think when you speak to what you actually also bring more added value because you know the product as well. So that can help when it comes to, like we talked about, the avatar client and the marketing and that sort of thing. But you bring up the franchising and licensing. That's also a passion of mine from experience. I was part of a franchise. And I realized that it was not specific to just my franchise, but the franchise business model as a whole needs some help, right? Like you have the big picture thinker at the top, and you have the studio owners that need to have actionable steps to go ahead and put into place. And it's really hard to make those two things meet if you don't have that person in the middle who can kind of speak the language.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's why, I mean, folks, Steph's big in this industry and she's working with some, big wig, franchises. And, but I think they use you because you're that middle person, because you knew what was missing when you were in the studio. Right.
And you could speak frankly to it from experience. Yeah.
You speak frankly, really.
Sugarcoat is not really in my dictionary at all. I come from a people who think that if you sugarcoat, it means you don't love them enough to go there. So that it does come from a good place.
Always. But you and I think, there's different styles of consulting coaching. And I think you and I are kind of similar in the fact that we get in there and we're part of our studio's team, right? It's like, I say this to you probably weekly, right? It's not always about the damn KPIs. The KPIs are important, but sometimes, you and I are in there and sometimes we've got studio owners crying to us, like, how do you pay the rent the next month? And we're helping them, it's not all fun for, everybody, right? It's like there's a lot of emotions involved in this too. So I just, I like our approach of where we are, where we're really helping it's owner support, right?
It is. It's the human interaction of it. I mean, we're all on this journey together and you have to believe that you're in the right place where you need to be. And so part of it for me, like we talked about at the beginning, is surrounding yourself with those people who can support you on the journey. I actually am starting tomorrow. I just hired my own coach because that was a big thing that we talked about during training, right? Even coaches need coaches. And just to kind of help you see things from a different perspective, maybe help you, for lack of a better word, get your head out of your ass when you feel stuck about things, because it's really easy to kind of fall into that. And a lot of us don't ask for help very easily. And humbling yourself and getting vulnerable, I have found, as I'm working towards getting better, that is really where the magic happens.
Totally.
Where someone can relate to you.
Yeah. Totally.
And all of this stuff that we're talking about, you could pick all of those subjects up and put it like in a studio owner to client format, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like serving your niche, creating your boundaries, asking for support.
Yeah, well, I think even for studio owners to, join in other masterminds, that are out there, and also, just having a coach on their side, it helps with clarity, I find.
Agreed.
Hey, I wanted to touch on some stuff that you and I think is kind of an interest out there, but I'd really like to touch on some kind of what you did in your studio and what you're seeing with your studios you're working with on some real actionable grassroots guerrilla kind of marketing things.
I love this subject.
Yeah, me too.
I really do.
I always say it's always about money or effort. Money as in you put it into Facebook marketing or ads in the newspaper. Effort is you got to pound the pavement a little bit and be strategic and smart and put effort in.
Absolutely. And I think the key to this, you and I were talking about this. I actually just watched Nicole DeAndrea's webinar on Mind Body One, which was very good. And she talked about like marketing ideas. And sometimes you know it in your head, but you need to be reminded, not everything that you come up with is going to work.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it could be like
wall.
Lack of planning. It could be myriad of things that you could tweak. But it doesn't mean to stop trying. You just haven't figured out what that niche is. And the reason why I love this subject is because I work a lot with my clients on like the marketing and events calendar throughout the year, so that you can touch on what you need to do for your current clients to keep retention up, what you need to do to promote new clients coming in, what you need to do for your staff, and what you need to do with your community. And so when we scale that out over the year.
Yeah. Can we stop there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just dive into that little bit there, because I think there's some stuff there. I was actually on, I just had our buddy Luke Spark John on, and we talked
John
a little bit. And so let's just talk about that, because a lot of people are reactionary when it comes to their promotion sales events,
Right.
right? So we're talking about getting a big ass. I think I got you to get a big ass calendar, didn't I?
Big ass calendar. Mm-hmm.
Big ass calendar. Staples, Amazon, or whatever. I get my clients to scribble all over those things. And it is like literally getting some color markers and scribbling out. You plug all of the stat holidays in there, all of the events, and then also look at the cycles of your studio, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting that you say that. So I was going to use an example. Did this with one of my clients talking about like Grassroots. She's in Indianapolis, Indy 500. She wanted to do a challenge. We did it around the Indy 500 where there are certain points where we had a visual and everybody had their own car. So it was a combination of retention for current members, getting some new members in because it was a team challenge. So we encouraged people to bring a friend and did a promotion that catered to the timeline of the challenge. But it's also kind of speaking to their community.
Yeah.
And so when you said that about what's seasonality for your studio, I obviously am from the New Orleans area, so Mardi Gras is big. So I always had, it was not a no-brainer that January was going to kick it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
Because if Mardi Gras falls close to January 1st, these people are going to continue their debauchery until Ash Wednesday, and then they'll start their health journey versus January. So to your point, I think that that's very important to kind of watch what's going on in seasons with your studio to know when events need to happen for grassroots, guerrilla marketing, whatever that looks like.
So I mean, so plugging in those local community events on the calendar. Let me speak to this one because I had. So we had in Ladner when my studio Open Space Yoga every year. We had this weird but wonderful event in the village called Quilt and Cars. And it was the Quilt and Car Show, and so the whole village. On this Sunday was old, beautiful old cars, shiny bumpers and like just gorgeous. And then every window in the town had quilts displayed in them. Like all the shops participated in this. I was the only studio with big ass walls. And so the oversized and the antique quilts came into our studio. And so for probably 10 years, that was a August event, and if anybody knows, August is perfect for pre-sales of September after Labor Day opening.
Yep.
So that was our jump day. So everything I did for the fall beginner courses, everything was that day. We had thousands of people through the studio. I had to let go of my no shoe policy that one day and be okay with sticky popsicles on the floor.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah. But it brought thousands of people into my studio. How could I not be part of that? So we popped a tent outside and we put stuff on sale that day. And it was just the biggest day of the year for pre-sales. So anyway.
And it's that branding and consistency. Like you spend all of this time putting together your graphics for instance, I'll just use the client that with the Indy 500. Put the graphics together. We did the emails together. Well, you know what? That is now locked and loaded in Canva.
Rinse and repeat.
Absolutely. What we will also do, though, is after the challenge is over, we're going to kind of have a brain dump on like what worked, what didn't work, what tweaked, whatever. We were talking about, never a bad idea. Maybe the idea you had was just not the right time of the year. Yeah. Maybe it just needed a little bit more prep time. But you can also focus on little things. I recently had a client. I forgot the website, but there's some website you can go where they have all of these. You know how you wake up one day and you go on Facebook and it's like National Red Tulip Day, like you never knew it, whatever they come up with these things. Well, we looked it up because it was like National Caffeine Day or Coffee Day or whatever, and partnered with a local coffee shop and got her QR code put on the coffee sleeve for a certain amount of time where the QR code took them to some promotion for them to come to class. Type of thing. And then in retrospect, we got coffee at her studio and had like a little coffee talk on a Friday afternoon after the morning classes kind of thing. So when you talk about grassroots, I think one of the best things that you can do is have your front desk, or you listen to after class and before class all the chatter of where people are going.
Yeah.
To have lunch, to buy a a blouse, whatever it is. Pay attention to where they're going to kind of give you ideas of what those like-minded businesses are for you to partner with.
Completely. My 11 o'clock Tuesday slow flow. All those ladies went to the cafe afterwards for lunch together after class. But what about partnering? So I did really well. I mean, I think it's easier in a community than a big city too, a little bit, but I did really well in my community partnering with like-minded businesses. And so when I put an event on, and let's say we did some kind of fundraiser or giving away prizes for a challenge or something like that, we asked them to donate things, and they never hesitated because they knew that we would scream and shout about them to our audience and, and link them in the newsletters. And but I also had a community corner in my studio, so I would go around the town once a month, pounding the pavement with my rack cards. Am I distracted? Are you distracted by something right now?
I'm writing myself a note because I forget so easily, and you brought up something and I had an idea. So I made sure I had paper and pen. Otherwise, I'm never going to remember it. It's hard to be cute and smart all the time. I don't know which one I'm going for today, but I needed to remember something about what you said. Okay, go.
Where was I going with that now?
You were talking about
I was watching your eyes dart to the side.
You were talking about the like-minded businesses.
Yeah.
About supporting you.
So,
while you're laughing, the reason what I wrote down, since you're such an ass about it, is developing these relationships. When you start to think bigger picture and other revenue streams, you create these relationships. These are perfect people to go to sponsor your retreats. Yeah. Sponsor your open houses, that sort of thing. The relationships are, it's a practice just like yoga, right? You develop them, and where can it take you, kind of thing. Yeah.
We had a community corner, and so it was just a place for business cards, rack cards, and so I would go around the city and distribute my local, my recent schedule or what have you, or promotions. But we had theirs in our studio because if you're in a yoga studio, how many people say to you, "Oh, my back, my this, my that," and we're like, "Oh well, chiropractor next door, go see Dr. Dave. He'll set you up. Here's his card. Here's the massage therapist. Go see Giselle down on Ladner Trunk Road." It's like, so it was a really nice two-way street for me.
Yep. Where else I found success as because when you say like-minded businesses don't have to be like small entities, like your chamber of commerce in your city. Like that is a business also. We actually reached out to very active athletically here in the South. We have a lot of 5Ks, which I'm sure a lot of other places have. And we reached out and asked if we could do the warm-up before the 5K. And I actually asked, I took it a step further and said, "Do you mind if I own it?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'd like to get a couple of other modalities in town." And they're like, "Well, why would you do that? They're your competitors." And I'm like, "Really? They're not." And this is a bigger picture now. This is about the community. So that way I was kind of the go-to person, and it was us. It was kind of a strength hit, and it was a Zumba, just to kind of, because the goal of the 5K, this was for breast cancer awareness locally, was to get people moving and what the importance of health looks like, wherever that you get that from. And so showing that community part was really cool. And we got to do that every year.
Now let's talk about that, because that cause was important to you because you went through breast cancer.
Yeah, but I did the 5K before.
Oh, okay.
I got diagnosed. I was supporting and then was like, "Okay, hey, I need your help."
I mean, but those things that you go through in life, I mean, you're a survivor, that's part of your story. But if you were to put on a fundraiser, if you had your studio and you were to put a fundraiser on for that cause, because it's important to you, how many people would show up for that? That's what I always say to people who do fundraisers. Don't do it for the publicity. I've seen studios do that. Oh, and I'm like, "Well, what's your reason?" "Oh, we get in the local papers, we get some blah, blah, blah." That's not a reason to do a fundraiser. A reason to do a fundraiser is because it's important to you. And when it's important to you, your community will step up
Mhm. Absolutely. It's interesting that you say that, because the reason why I was drawn to teach took on a whole new reason after breast cancer. It was like, I need you. I now start off every class that I teach where I tell them, I want you to get out of your head. I want you to get out of everything going on in your life. And I want you to get into your body, because it's going to tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
Whether it comes to something's off, I'm not in alignment, I need to, I need some mental fitness, I need to calm my brain down, whatever that looks like. But that connection to your body is really important.
Yeah.
And for me, I accredit it for early detection, because mine had already traveled and just like me was like, I ain't playing, let's go. But to be able to bring that to someone else is huge.
Yeah.
And you're right, tapping onto the community and localizing it, whatever it is for you, can be very, very powerful.
Yeah. My charity was the local hospice society, because I was touched by when my mum died in 2008. She had amazing hospice support, and I was like, these people are they're just angels. These people are incredible that look after people that are dying. And I got thrown into that world. I ended up becoming vice president at my local hospice society. But then my studio did fundraising for that.
Yeah.
So when I asked, we raised $40,000, my little studio, for that charity through pre-Christmas shopping days, where we had people come, and that was our annual annual thing, where they gave percentage of their revenue to the charity. But because it was it was important to me, it did really well. After I sold the studio, they tried to keep it going on, but it fizzled, because I kind of feel like you need to come in and say, okay, this is my charity, this is what I believe in, right? And so
it needs to be authentic. Like, I have
yeah,
a client who's in California where she annually does like a coast cleanup. Everybody meets at the studio, they
yeah,
go walk a certain area, they clean up the coast. So it's that sort of thing where it speaks to her. And maybe the first year she had 7 people, and every year it grows. Because I think what's important when it comes to, excuse me, events and how you show up is that you keep showing up. Like, you don't get to decide when someone is ready to come and look at your community, join your community, take your classes, see what you have to offer. What you can control is to keep showing up and showing them, I'm here. Here's the value. This is what I do. Because people need that. They need their guidance. They need that stability, especially now. And they want to be able to follow. So you need to have your shit together so they can follow you.
yeah. What else have you seen in the way of not expensive marketing?
Not expensive marketing. I think a lot of good marketing comes from cross promotion.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like
Yep.
for you. I think a lot of great marketing comes from PR, I guess. Like, when we sit here and we talk about, like, when you think about your studio, what are ways you can market your studio? And if I were to sit here and go, oh my God, my studio is the best, it's so great, da da da, people are like, okay, that's cool. Someone else were to speak on my behalf and say, you need to go to Stephanie's studio, it's really great. That comes across so much more authentically. That if there are ways that you can promote that PR situation among your community, and all you have to do is ask, they're more than willing to do it. There was a great idea that came up at BFS Summit, Boutique Fitness Summit, that I went. I'm trying to remember of this amazing woman who said that she put it in her studio. She created kind of like a focus group within her studio of a core group of women.
Yep.
They were not paid. They didn't get special compensation for a membership. They did not get a special t-shirt. They didn't even meet. These were people she had tapped into that said, would you be available for feedback on certain areas of my business that I can come to you so that we can make the community better?
I love it.
For her, I know she had about 20 or 30 people, because she wouldn't always ask the same person the same question type of thing. But in the spirit of what I was saying about PR, your supporters really want to support you.
Yeah.
And can you imagine what it's like to be tapped on the shoulder and going, you know what? I really value your opinion. Can you help me out with this?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah. Kind of and also your heavy users of the studio that really are invested in care.
Yeah. They want your community to stay.
Yeah. What's your favorite software right now?
Okay. Are you asking this on Perfect because I'm not a technology person?
No, but you work with the software companies. Like
I do work with software companies. My favorite, and it's not really well, I'm going to give you two answers because one's technology software and one's not. I do project work with the sales arm, which is fascinating to me because we all know how important the sales process is. This is a good subject. Now that AI is out and about and you're like automating so much stuff and it's going out, how do we feel about someone else using our words, or we're just using it to give us guidance and then we tweak it for our personality? What does that look like? How quickly is the consumer going to be able to tell that this was AI generated? So all of these things have been going on in my head as I'm dealing with my studios. And so I do project work with the sales arm, and what they do, it's like your fractional sales manager. If you are not in a position to have hired a front desk salesperson, or you don't have enough times in the day to call all the people that have come, miss sales, what does that look like? That's where the sales arm steps in. And I'll be honest, at first I was like, okay, how are you going to make sure that it sounds like the words that I want to use?
Can we back up to say what this is? Because like it's people calling on your behalf, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're doing the sales process. They're going in your system and they're finding the missed sales, and they're finding the people that did not book. And at first I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great to get more business. I didn't realize at the same time, they are speaking your language and they're also getting feedback on your studio. I mean, how many times have you worked with a client who said, my problem is marketing. I need more people in the studio. And you dive deep and you're like, oh, honey, we need to back up some stuff. Like the problem is not marketing. Seriously, like how many times?
Yeah.
And what a benefit it's going to be if someone comes back to you and says, well, the reason why people aren't booking is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Your classes are too crowded.
Your classes are too crowded. The bathroom is messy. The teacher was a bitch. The music is too loud, whatever it is. For you to actually get that feedback. Who doesn't want that feedback? Because all of these things are things you could fix in your business.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, in touch with, work with a lot of the softwares, just on project-based type things. And what I will tell you is the majority of people in this industry are in it to help this massive industry that is so needed. I feel like tides are turning when it comes to, this is such an important business, but for whatever reason, we don't feel the need to be able to charge what we need to charge to really help people. And I think about it and I'm like, that man went to medical school to help people, but and now he's a doctor and he's amazing. He sure as hell is making sure he gets paid for what he does though.
Yeah.
So I know kind of went off on a tangent, but
well, I mean, I think what we're seeing is there's a lot of change right now, and when it comes to, there's a lot of automations. But our buddy Luke Spark John, I was just talking to him last week, and the conversation was, yes, we've got automations, but a product like his and the sales arm is that we bring the human part into it as well, right? Which is, and how many people, how many studio owners have somebody purchase a pass and we don't even talk to them, and then their trial ends after 3 weeks or whatever, and they're gone, and we had no touch points in there. And so I think we're dialing up the customer service right now. And I don't know about you, but in my world, it feels like the front desk area, we're dialing up the concierge VIP experience.
Because when you think about it, the word sales can kind of have a connotation at times. Like it's just a relationship business where you're asking questions to see what it is that they need. People just want to be heard. I mean, the main subject everybody likes to talk about is themselves, right? But also realizing, I think, and this was hard for me as a beginning studio owner, not everyone is going to be your client.
Yeah. It's okay.
You don't want
It's
everyone to
okay.
be your
No, you
client.
don't. That woman,
Right
when
now,
I had,
everybody listening is thinking, they're like, she's
yeah.
talking about Susan. She's talking about Susan.
Did you fire a client?
Would I or have I?
Have I? Have you? I have.
Um, I have, but it was in a manner where they thought it was their idea.
Oh, you're that good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened with teachers also. Because let's be clear, managing staff is the most difficult part of your entrepreneurial journey. Like, I think you get into it and you just want everybody to get along, and this is like a relationship business, so let's all be, and then lines get crossed, and then it becomes awkward, and so yeah,
Unless we have
boundaries definitely
good
needed.
boundaries and good, clear onboarding.
Good, clear onboarding, absolutely.
Yeah. Especially if you're buying a studio and you're taking on their staff, re-onboarding, right?
And you know what's interesting about our niches? We talk about, like, because I talk to a lot of people when they're thinking about scaling. Like, do you want a franchise? Do you want a license? Do you want to own or operate another 5 studios? Do you want to think outside the box and do whatever works for you, type of thing? And I know that you found a lot of success with studios that are just opening.
Yep.
What getting that pre-sale in that community looks like.
Yep.
And for me, it kind of all comes full circle down to, what are your processes and procedures? How can you simplify things? It takes a lot of time and effort at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then once they're locked and loaded in place, and I'm talking like mission statement, all of your legal agreements, all of your financial basis, whatever that looks like. And I think COVID provided a great opportunity for even studios who weren't looking to scale to kind of go back and say, let's get rid of what's not working.
Yeah.
Let's look at this from like a numbers perspective. We have this 1030 class that these 2 women come to, and I love them to death, but it is not profitable to keep a class on the schedule for just 2 people.
No.
And all of it kind of comes full circle, because the worst case scenario to you going through all of this is getting your shit together.
Yeah.
Even if you decide not to scale.
Yeah.
Even if you decide not to grow. Could you make your business?
It gives freedom. It gives freedom.
Absolutely.
Right? So I've got a podcast. My next podcast is my client, Lisa. And she's in France right now for the first time, and she's gone for 6 weeks. And she said, "You don't need to contact me." And so everybody, we've got it to a place where everybody knows their lane at the studio, and the processes are all documented. Everything's in place, and so yeah, it feels daunting to put that together, but the freedom it gives you is just beyond, right? It really gives you that space to be able to step away and have balance.
When I look back on my studio, that is the one thing that I wish I would have taken more time to do at the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was
Don't know what you don't know.
No, I didn't know that I was going to have this health journey that was going to take the better part of 18 months.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't prepare my studio and myself adequately enough to walk away from the studio for certain amounts of time during the recovery. And I think on one hand, as a studio owner, it kind of feels that ego, like, oh my God, it can't run without me. Like, I'm so important.
Feels good at first. Feels good at first.
It feels great. And then you're like, wait a minute. I had an instructor come. She's like, I have a headache. I, can't teach. I'm like, I have needles in my chest. Bitch, go teach. Like, come on. But I had to realize that part of that accountability was on me for not putting the structure and the boundaries and everything that was needed in order to be away from the studio. So yes. Huge.
And then, I'm dealing with a lot of opening studios. So that's the best time to put something like that. It's not impossible when you're mid-flow of owning a studio. But if you're just opening, you just document the process as you're learning it.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm working with a lot of studios rebranding, and it's the same type of thing. It's like, let's go back and let's see what worked, what didn't work. And now that you're coming out of a franchise umbrella, what do you want to create? What do you want to do?
Yeah, that's an interesting one to me because when especially because you deal with people that are buying studios or rebranding, I deal with some studios that have purchased existing owners have purchased existing studios, and I feel it's it's a great thing, but it's a difficult process to
Mm-hmm.
make it yours.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that feels authentic to you and that you're not still trying to be in the shoes of the previous owner. That's a hard process, I think.
It's very hard, especially because I have dealt with clients in this situation, especially if the previous owner is still part of the community somehow.
Yes, yes. Because we feel we need to keep them, so we keep the students.
Right. So
But
what does that look like?
right. And then it's like we're kind of scared to get rid of that teacher, but that teacher has still a lot of power over our studio and the
Mm-hmm.
students and yeah, rip the band-aid.
It's like a Young and the Restless episode.
However, I say that here's I say that get rid of them, rip the band-aid. You're better off. But here I am. I sold my studio 7 years ago. I'm still teaching 3 virtual classes for the studio. But I think I'm a good example of I'm not interfering in the business. I'm just
Well,
showing.
no, but you're also coming from the perspective where that you're aware of that,
Yeah,
right? As a consultant
yeah,
doing what you're
yeah.
doing, you only want the best for the studio. So yeah, you're aware of
And
that.
I'm just showing up for the students, and it's for me, to be honest, because
Absolutely.
I gave birth to that studio, and it to me there's people that still show up for me all these years later, 20 years later, for the same classes, Tuesday slow flow, and today I'm teaching, and they still show up, and it feeds me as much as it
But
feeds them.
don't you think it also gives you more perspective and street cred in the industry because you're still part of
Totally,
it all?
completely.
Like here's what I'm seeing when I teach, all of that sort of thing. Because I got certified in Legree, so I'm teaching Legree now, and it's just very interesting to see it from a previous owner, outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
So now I'm an instructor, and there are times where I just want to look at the owner and go, can you just ask me this question so I can tell you how to explain? But then I also realized, like, I want to go in and teach and leave. I don't want to have to own all the stuff. Like I did that
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
like with this. I turn up on my Zoom and I have my little relationships and then I
You're
turn
like,
it
peace
into
out.
yeah, no, it's great. Um all right, we are getting on here.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Keep talking. All right, so let's kind of wrap this up.
All right.
I'm going to ask you a few questions. Something about you that most people would know.
I'm extremely sensitive. I cannot watch The Wizard of Oz. I cannot watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I get really upset because people's feelings get hurt
Yeah,
in those shows.
I think every single conference we've been together, I've been sitting next to you with you crying.
Crying about something. Crying about something. Yeah. I'm the most sensitive member of my family, which makes a lot of people nervous.
And people probably don't think that because you're very outgoing and
I'm actually a social introvert. Like I don't fill my cup by being around other people. I fill my cup by going in a padded room and watching The Real Housewives of something. But at the same time, I do need that community. Like there are moments when I just need
but
to have people around me.
when you walk in, it's like, Stephanie's in the room.
I hope that's a good compliment and not like sucking all the energy out.
No. Yes, I told you when we first met, your superpower is your southern wit. Dial it up.
Dial it up.
What's your favorite business tool, website, or app?
Okay, you're going to laugh at me.
Oh, no.
You know how you're talking about the big ass calendar?
Yeah.
I am keeping Franklin Day Planner in business for the rest of their life. I love my day timer.
Yeah.
It keeps me, don't go in.
No.
I struggle with organizing digitally. So I like to organize this way. And by writing, it goes into my memory. So as much as I'm trying to embrace all of this technology, I still love my day timer.
Well, I told you I go old school with the planning, with my big ass calendars.
Yep.
But then it gets transferred into the computer. Once
Google Calendar. Yeah,
I feel that's my scratch it out, kind of work
absolutely.
stuff out, and then I kind of convert that into. So that piece you're missing.
Yeah, I'm not a technology person. Surprise!
What's your favorite personal fun website or app? Bravo channel app?
No, I am actually loving, it's kind of a combination of like Canva and Pinterest because I don't consider myself a creative person.
Yeah.
But between the studios that I'm working with rebranding and realizing that it could be difficult to communicate to someone who's helping you with color scheme and logo and website and all of that kind of stuff, how cool it is to go ahead and pick the things. I guess it's kind of like a vision board, how cool it is to kind of pick the things that you want. And that's also been a favorite because as I moved into this house, kind of figuring it out, it was like, how do you put it all together? And then all of a sudden it looks how you want to look. So I'm kind of loving Canva and all of that for that sort of thing.
Well, it's funny. I'm helping a certain somebody in Los Angeles renovate a bathroom right now. So in Canva, and I'm being bugged with like every day, just mass amounts of text of tiles, like just every day. What do you think? What do you think?
Go crazy.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, this is driving me crazy. So I go into Canva and I took the new vanity, the blue vanity that's purchased, and I did a color background wall and then the photographs of all these tiles. And I cut out the vanity with the background remover. And then I just put tile behind it. And so I did like 6 pages of tile. There you go.
This is the difference between you and I. You're doing all this on the computer. I had to figure out wallpaper next to a desk. I went and got all the samples and taped them up on the wall and kept walking by to see which one I was drawn to. So yeah,
and then
I get scissors and tape and you can
And then that certain somebody booked into my work calendar yesterday to book a Zoom meeting to finalize tile purchases.
That was actually really smart.
Yeah.
That was actually really smart. Yeah.
For free. Steph, how do we
you have to ask me my favorite TV show.
That's not on my thing.
It's not? I thought it was.
Favorite personal fun website or app?
Oh, maybe it's TV. Okay, well, let me tell y'all. If y'all haven't watched on Netflix, The Diplomat.
That's British one, right?
Amazing. She's in London now. Yeah, she's in London. Yep. Yeah. Really, really good.
Those Brit crime dramas are the best.
Well, no. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
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 You'd rather Real Housewives of.
It kind of takes the crazy out. You think that your life, whatever, you watch a Real Housewife, you're like, you know what? I have my shit together and my lips are normal and I don't have a lot of lashes.
Maybe we'll delete this from the end of the podcast.
I was about to say we're going to get in trouble.
Who's going to get us in trouble?
How much time do you have? I got kicked out of kindergarten. I mean, let's figure that out.
That was fun, Steph. Steph, how do we find you?
How do we find me? You can find me on LinkedIn. My consulting operation is called Breaux Bradley Consulting. Breaux. It's Cajun. Breaux Bradley Consulting. And on there, I offer a complimentary 30-minute coffee and conversation for us to. Because here's the deal. When we talked about beginning and we talked about consultants and all that kind of stuff, I think it all comes down to the personality fit.
Totally.
Just like not every person's going to be your client in the studio that you own. All of the consultants that are in our circle, amazing. Everyone does a great job. It's kind of just finding the fit that works for you.
Completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think we all are great resources for each other also, which has been amazing to be a part of.
Well, I do think we do have a great community of consultants. And
absolutely.
I do feel that working with one of us, you actually get the knowledge of a lot of them because I know that when, I don't know anything about a certain area, I just put it out to our group and we can get the answers pretty quickly. So
agreed.
We're very lucky to be part of our circles. And I'm lucky to have you in mine.
You're my favorite.
Huh?
For anybody listening to the podcast who thinks that they're his favorite, you're not. That is right.
We're going to be sharing a room in New York in October. That's going to be scary.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
All right. So BroBradleyConsulting.com.
Yep. You can find that on Steph Breaux Bradley on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And you can go to the website and find everything you need to find.
Well, thanks for sharing your morning with me.
I appreciate you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, Steph.
Okay.
Bye. See you.
If you are getting any value out of this podcast, I really ask you to help me out, and that's a simple thing as making sure you're subscribed, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. Just make sure you're subscribed to me so you'll get the latest episodes. And if you're really enjoying it, please take a moment to rate and review. If you are looking to work with a business coach, thinking about opening a yoga studio, please go to my website, yogabizcamp.com. Feel free to book a no obligation free strategy session with me. Again, that's yogabizcamp.com, and follow me on Instagram at yogabizchamp. See you next episode.